All right, I think we can kick this off officially. Welcome, everyone. Once again, I'm Adela King. I am the European City Network Manager and Applications Manager at the European Capital of Democracy. We are based in Vienna. And today I have the pleasure of moderating our European City Network webinar on youth policies. And together with me, there is Roel Camps from the City of Antwerp and Michał Zorena from the City of Gdańsk. So a very warm welcome to our speakers who will be sharing insight into their best practices in the Department of Youth. Very briefly, I'll share the agenda, what we're going to do today, so you can bear that in mind. Just before I start with that, I do want to share once again that this webinar is being recorded. If you'd rather have your camera off, that's completely okay. Or you can message me afterwards to say that you want your image blurred out or your name. So we've got a brief arrival, what we're doing now, an introduction from ECoD side, so what we do, what our organization does, and then we'll hand over to the City of Gdańsk for their presentation, followed by the City of Antwerp. We will then move into breakout sessions, which is an opportunity for every participant to ask the speaker more detailed questions and to understand the presentation in more depth. So I would really encourage you to make use of that. And finally, we'll have a summary and feedback round, and we really truly do appreciate your feedback. So listen into this webinar, tell us what we're doing well, and where you see improvement. We'd be happy to hear from you. And then at the very last part, an outlook of what's awaiting us in the future. So as already mentioned, this webinar is cities and their youth policies. So what are cities doing in this department? How are cities engaging the youth today? And this is hosted by ECoD with presentations by the City of Antwerp and the City of Gdańsk. And the webinar will explore how European cities are developing youth policies through participation processes. So building trust, fostering dialogue, and co-creating solutions together with young people. As I mentioned, the City of Gdańsk and the City of Antwerp will share their best practices. Now, briefly about European Capital of Democracy, ECoD. The European Capital of Democracy is a non-profit organization. It was founded in 2021 by the Innovation and Politics Institute, a European-wide organization dedicated to improving politics. The mission of ECoD is to promote democratic governance and to strengthen social cohesion by fostering and expanding participation and awareness across the Council of Europe member states and Kosovo. For this purpose, a European Capital of Democracy is designated every year. So what is this democracy year that is then implemented? This is in cooperation with civil society and citizens. The designated city will curate, organize, and implement a program year, featuring a wide range of activities and events. Now, just a brief history of which cities have actually been European capitals of democracy and which cities will be in the future. So far, we had Barcelona 2023, 2024, the city of Vienna 2024, 2025. Currently, the European capital of democracy is the city of Cascais in Portugal, and Brussels will take over in 2027, which we announced a couple of months ago. Now, what happens once a city is designated as European Capital of Democracy? There are certain flagship events that are held. And as Cascais is currently the European Capital of Democracy, these are all taking place there currently. We had the pleasure of being in Cascais in May. So 1.5 months ago, the ACNA Mayors Conference took place together with an ECN meeting alongside there. So approximately 10 cities were represented at the ECN meeting that took place alongside the ACNA Mayors Conference in Cascais. And we were really glad to see a lot of European City Network members represented who also shared their best practices. Pool and Gdańsk, I think Deputy Mayor was Monica Chabia was also present. So a lot of best practices were shared. Upcoming in October, we have the Innovation Politics Awards. There will also be an ECN meeting and details about that will follow. And finally, in December, there will be the Truth, Lies and Democracy Game Jam. But that's still in December. So first of all, the EPA will take place. Now, briefly about the European City Network. 27 member cities from 15 European countries, and we're continuously expanding. You can see the map here. So it's a very great overview of cities and the reach of the network, which we're truly proud of, and it is at the heart of our initiative. And touching upon all is expanding, the call for European Capital of Democracy 2028 is officially open. So any questions you have, please direct them to me. I'll be more than happy to walk you through the process. You can apply by 30th of July to receive a reduction on the European City Network membership, and the general application deadline is open until 1st of November 2026. So we're really looking forward to launching this process, and I welcome any questions you might have. Finally, I'll present our speakers briefly, and they will go in a bit more depth about their biographies and what they've done so far, and then present their best practices. But we've got Michał Zorena, Deputy Director, Department of Social Development from the City of Gdańsk, and Roel Camps, Policy Advisor for Youth from the City of Antwerp. And for now, I will then hand over to Michał, who will present for Gdańsk. I'll stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
So thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting us to share our experience. And now I will try to share my screen. I think it should be visible. Okay,
yes,
can you see?
We can see your screen.
So I will start my short presentation about our work on youth policy. I would like to start with that we don't have such a policy by now. We are in the process of developing it because as a City of Gdańsk, we have a lot of scattered activities for young people. We have a lot of activities that support youth, basically on the educational process, on starting their on the job market, and everything which is connected to growth. And also we have a lot of activities connected with youth actions. We have a youth fund. We have a lot of volunteering with youth, but all of these simple, small actions were not connected into what we say an ecosystem. So that's why our kind of basic need is to, first of all, to recognize all the activities that are done through the city with different stakeholders, and then check what is missing, what are the needs that are not fulfilled, and then figure out how to connect it into the one citywide youth policy. And first of all, we would like to change and shift our model that was kind of common in Poland a couple of years ago, that all the actions were prepared for youth. So adult people, as me, for example, were okay, we're sitting together around the table and figure out, okay, they need something like that, they need something like that, and they need also something like that. For example, they need, I don't know, kind of scholarships or kind of trainings with future employers. But nowadays, we would like to kind of shift the model to the with youth. So first of all, we are trying to encourage young people to share their needs, to invite them to the table and discuss different kind of levels of city and on the living in a city. What are the needs on that levels? And what was our basic principle and why we started thinking about kind of connecting all those things into one policy? This is the mental health issues. This is the basic principle. We started with supporting youths with all those issues related to the mental health crisis. We figure out that there is a lot of things to do with that. Youth are kind of explaining it really simply, are scared about their future. because we're living in a really weird world with a really weird problems. So we started with creating actions that supports youth according to the mental health, with psychological support, with trainings, with advisors, and something like and so on. And we thought that that's not enough, because the idea was that youth needs to grow. That was the kind of basic. It used to be a basic principle that everything we should do, it's supporting them with growth. And now we are trying to shift this into the well-being, because focusing on growth and kind of developing their skills might cause also a lot of mental health issues, because of the tension that we put, the pressure that we put on youth. And that's why we are trying to start with well-being. Also, the kind of basic thing with that, as you mentioned at the very beginning, that is the co-creation process with youths. So we decided to invite them, but we use a kind of typical model for us in Gdańsk. Because we have a lot of experience in citizen assemblies, but we figure out that citizens assemblies are really expensive and really difficult methods to organize kind of the participation processes. So we kind of fixed it into the kind of so we took a basic principles from citizen assemblies. So we've opened a call for youth to enter, to apply, to be a part of that process. And based on that, we draw a sociological sample of youth representation to have as many points of view as possible with the different different baselines. So that's why we've created a kind of assembly based on different youth according to the age. Our kind of spread is from 13 to 26, just our definition of youth. And then also male, female, and then different different kind of I forgot the word, but I will manage. So for example, the age, the sex, the school, the kinds of school that they are going through, the migration history or not, the religion, the level of activeness in the city. And that's why and based on that, we created kind of assembly, which we think or which we believe that is the kind of sample of the youth population in our city. But co-creation it's not enough. We started also collecting data. A lot of data coming from surveys, interviews, and different kind of different situation that we can talk to youth. And nowadays we are finishing the huge survey. We have more than 1,500 responses. And this will be the base to continue work and collecting on data to prepare this policy as database as possible. But what we find in all those surveys and all those interviews, that what is the biggest problem in our city, because we have a lot of services which are scattered, but we don't have one thing that youths were telling us, that it is spaces. You've said that there is no space that youth can, that the young people can be kind of free. They can be kind of kind of owners of that space, because we have a lot of spaces with offers, with kind of workshops, things that adults or kind of professionals propose to youth to do. But what was missing, it was the places that belongs to youth. That places that the youth can just be there and do what they really want to do. So this is the first thing that we are working on now. We are together with the representative of the young people's kind of different groups. We are developing the idea of a network of youth spaces. Nowadays we have 4 of them. We have one which is kind of related to the art things. It's just called Watermelon, because of the Watermelon Association is running that place. And we have 3 blue sneakers spaces. They are settled in the city malls, because we kind of figure out that city malls or the shopping malls are new playgrounds for the youth, and we created spaces that they can use for whatever they want. But what is the kind of basic? This is the space. This is the safe space with the psychological support that youth can enter free of charge. They don't have to apply, they don't have to sign, they just can enter and use all the facilities which are there, just to kind of have their own time. And nowadays, together with youth group, we are developing a kind of set of rules for the new places. And at the end of the year, we are planning an open call for association to run another youth spaces with all those all the same principles and all the same rules, that all those places will be kind of similar and based on the same regulations. And the second thing, according to spaces we are working on, it's a youth hub. Together with youth, we are now renovating a huge building, which will be kind of a hub for all different activities and all separate youth spaces around the city, and also the kind of how it should be designed, what kind of services should be there, was developed with youths, and now we are starting the renovation process, and in 2 years it will be finished, we believe. So spaces is mental health, and spaces are 2 main pillars that we are trying to build our youth policy, also to connect different other different aspects of living in a city. Of course, the kind of labor market is one of the important things, and most important and really most difficult one is the housing issue, because the housing is a really problem in our city. The prices of renting a house or not even buying are really, really expensive, that youths are not able to live by their own. And this is the thing that we will also trying to focus on. But this thing is the most difficult. We don't have any kind of direct solutions to deal with that. But what you've said to us, that this is the issue, that there is not, in our city we don't have a big problem with the labor market, because we have a lot of places to work, we have a lot of offers, but salaries are on a really low level, which are not allowing them to live by themselves and kind of be independent as a young citizens. So this is the basic kind of idea and basic things related to our kind of work and youth policy. We would like to end it at the beginning of the next year, hoping that our city council will vote on that, and then we will focus on implementing all those things that we will figure out together with youths. So if any more details I can share with the separate rooms, that as it was mentioned at the beginning. So thank you for attention, and I'm really open to answer all those questions that are in your minds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michał, for sharing this this today with us. I will briefly just want to mention, as you know, originally the municipality of Maya was supposed to be presenting as well. Unfortunately, Nuno Gomez sends his regards. He's, for unforeseen circumstances, not able to join us in this webinar, but I'm sure that the municipality of Maya will present their best practices in the upcoming ones. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you again, Michał, for your presentation, and I will hand over to Roel now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roel Camps from City of Antwerp, and today I will guide you into a very specific item from our youth policy, but I will first generally explain how it works really fast and small. I'm going to try already to share the screen, and I think that should be working.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, because you're all disappeared, but that doesn't matter. So I work for the City of Antwerp. City of Antwerp has over 500,000 inhabitants, and almost 200,000 people are young people under the age of 26. That means there is a lot of work, a lot of challenges. The city is spread out over 10 districts, and I think the farthest point is like 40 kilometers between two districts almost. It has a very odd shape. We are, our youth department is, we have like 32 people working there, and it's divided in like 5 different teams. And we have a team who works purely around infrastructure, because we have like 60 buildings that are our own in our property that we need to take care of and manage. We host there a lot of youth centers in there, like also professional youth work organizations, and also like voluntary youth work organizations. Then we have another service within our team, and they work around a professional youth work. So we spend a lot of funding money to our organization. I think this time it's like 34 organizations who are getting funded by the City of Antwerp to do like youth work on its own. And then we have like other teams. We have a team that mainly works on students. Antwerp is also like a student city, and we have like 55,000 students every week in Antwerp. So we have like a whole team who works on that area. And then we have like one of the last teams there. We work around general youth policy. I work in that department. For 15 years, I was a participation senior officer, and I did that until recently, and then I shifted into like the strategy. You know what I mean. So today I'm going to show one of our topics within that part. We show when we talk about our departments, we have our KPIs, and we also have like strategic projects. And this is one of our strategic projects. It's youth and police. It's really short for a better relation between some youngsters and the police in Antwerp. Why is it a strategic project? Well, because we are trying already for several years this as a pilot, and now it has been shifted into like a regular standard operations and like policy. So in the beginning, when we tried to start with it, it was really about improving the relationship between young people, youth workers, and the police force in the city of Antwerp. And how did we do? How was it done? Simply by bringing parties close together, strengthening them, and striving for mutual recognition and the restoration of trust because in the beginning it has a negative start. There were a lot of complaints of some youngsters because they will always ask for identity controls. So it was like ethnic profiling and so on. There's also like a lot of prejudice from youth to the police, but also from police to the youth, and from youth work to the police, and from police to the youth work. So it has the start in, okay, let's try and solve this. So we started. There were like a lot of pilots that happened over the several past years. So in the beginning, we had several objectives in the pilots. First, it was about improving the mutual perceptions between young people and the police. We want really to get rid of the prejudice, and that is a job that is really, literally, it's never done, because there will always be new youngsters, and there will always be like also new police officers who gets in training and so on. What we also wanted to do within the project, together with the youth work organization, was the strengthening of the legal position of young people. That a lot of young people also knew this is your right. They can do this, police, but they can't do this. Or for instance, what is the legal position when police officers ask for identity control at youth work organization, because they know yeah, but there is a drugs criminal with you. Are they allowed to share that information or not? Is that person there or not? So it was really about strengthening the legal position. And then it was the third objective was to introduce the youth perspective within the police. The police in Belgium, it is on several layers. We have a federal police, but we also have very local police. So it was to introduce on the local level the insights of what is a diversity of the youth life in Antwerp. And then the last objective from the pilot was increasing the knowledge and skills of the police in their dealings with young people. So how you talk with them, how do you behave with them, and so on. So we started with those objectives in the pilot. And then the pilot was set up with a lot of youth work organizations, with some members of the police force, and of course with some young people. We work together with, I think, 3-4 professional youth work organizations. The policy was based on like 4 main pillars. One of the biggest or the most important one was when you come along as a youngster, it has to be voluntarily. Right? They do it on their own. There were like dialogue processes in the beginning. It was between then the young people, police, and it was facilitated by a moderator, because sometimes there were like tensions. And then we're talking like groups, or like a group of 30 people. So on the large scale, it wasn't much, but it was a start, because it was actually it started bottom up completely. It started from youth work organizations, where the youngsters asked, hey, we think this is a problem. We think they're doing ethnic profiling and so on, or we have the bad experience with the police. So it was really a bottom-up project. Then there was a policy created also to have good standard operations. So there was an ethical framework, and there were really clear project principles for each of the 3 target groups. And then there was a lot of training for the police. There's within the police of Antwerp, there is a diversity team, so they are dealing with that. With the youth department, we are also working together to. We have over 100 of youth workers to inform them and to give them insight. And of course, there were some trainings then with the young people. So it was a pilot. We got some funding from Flemish government, I think also a bit from EU, and we did a lot of research on it. So we took a researcher who really helped in developing something more out of it. And we went actually from a pilot to structural policy and standard operation, where we're really proud of. It's never done, but we're still ongoing. So now what we first did, it has an end. It was a project. It was a pilot, but now we really are going to do it on structural base for the whole term of the policy and beyond that. So we do it by, of course, the structural embedding into policies within the city of Antwerp. We also do it like structural embedding by having a good collaboration with youth work organizations, with fundings for them, or specifically for participation into this project. And it's also like structural embed within the police force. And there is like a cell they work around diversity. They do like teen days for all the new police officers, or like for every police officer, always focused on giving insight into young people and the diversity of City of Antwerp. I think the next years they will work further on the trust between the youth and police. And there will be a focus on, I think, 5 or 6 priority neighborhoods, where there's like a really dense population, there is increased poverty. So we focus mainly on those areas because we notice that there it's necessary. And we try to have sustainable relationships and safety, so everybody feels safe to come along. Okay, now I'm going to shift a real bit between this and what we did then. How did we do it from pilot to structure? It was like the word memorandum, but it's more like a future note, and that was written with those 3 parties, with youth work organizations, with the police, and with the City of Antwerp. So it is now for this policy turn, and it really focused on strengthening the relationship between young people and the police. So it's really a future note in, okay, this will be new policy in Antwerp. We're going to do this. There will be budgeting on and so on. It's also about the partnerships that we have within the YEP. We call it YEP, Youth and Police, about bringing more locals together to exchange information and experience. So it's more a sustainable approach. So let me get into some of the strategic pillars of how we're going to do it for more standard operations. I'm going to, because I have here another presentation in the background. So the future note or the memorandum, the rests on 4 strategic pillars that together form the foundation of this new YEP approach. First, there is like the permanent training structure aimed at increasing knowledge and understanding among all involved parties. So the first pillar of this project approach concerns a structured training program for police, youth workers, and young people. So it's really now on structural base. It is part of the working of the police. It's also part of what we do every year, like in a network event for a lot of youth workers. And now for the coming years, we're going to try to expand in how can we reach more youngsters than like the initial number of youngsters. So the goal is there to increase mutual understanding and strengthening really professional skills. For the police officers, it means like gaining insight more into the lives of young people, including what are like social vulnerabilities. For youth workers, it involves mostly the knowledge of the police operations and procedures. So they know this is legal, they can do this, or no, we have to cooperate together, or not. No, this is not we have to do, we can choose to do this. And then for the young people, it's about a focus on understanding what their rights are in obligation and learning and how to interact with the police in various situations. So in the future, the emphasis will shift more strongly towards young people themselves so that they are actively involved into the process. And we will go for that. Then the second pillar, it's about the consultation structure. So we have in all the area, the attention areas, we have SPOCs, like a single person of contact. So what is really beneficial is there's like one person. So the youth work knows I can contact that person if there are a problem. But the same for with the police force. If they know something, we need to exchange. Okay, that's this person. So it's really to strengthen like cooperation at the local level and within the city. It focused on developing a structured consultation. So in all the different areas, the neighbors, there are really like structured meetings where a lot of people can join that. And at the neighborhood level, these regular YEP meetings are organized when local partners come together to discuss situations, to share experience, and to coordinate actions. So the SPOCs act as points of contact and as bridge builders between organizations and the others. And at the city level, the trends and broader themes are discussed. So the structures ensures fast and efficient communication, but also like an integrated and approach to problem and strengthening mutual trust. Through this approach, partners can respond more quickly to the local needs and prevent tensions. And then the third pillar, it focused more on dialogue, on the restoration and mediation to address tensions constructively. So it focused on utilizing dialogue and restorative process to manage conflict and tensions. So by following incidents, mediation is offered to repair relationships and foster mutual understanding. And during quiet periods, it's more about proactive dialogue that can be organized where young people, police and youth works can engage into conversation. We did that in the past, and we're going to see now how we're going to do this on a broader scale. But also, is it necessary? And then the challenge will be who is the perfect party to be the mediator in here. The key principles will always be there. This is voluntary and it has a low accessibility. So to ensure everybody feels safe and comfortable by participating. This does not only strengthen the relationship, but it also contributes to a preventive effect. And then the last pillar is placed on knowledge building and monitoring to continuously improve operation. So it's about measuring, to have data about it, and to understand more in the funds that we are giving into it. What is the impact? How can we measure the impact? Is it possible to measure those impacts? So this pillar emphasizes the collection, sharing, and utilization of knowledge within this partnership. We do it by systematically documenting and analyzing. That's why this project is also like a strategic project. So every quarter, we do like a reportation for ourselves, but also for like the political level. So these are like the big strategic pillars. Then for a final, there was like an implementation strategy that can be useful because when we explain this, it can be like an inspiration. Will it be like one copy? Probably not, because every city is different, every context is different, but you can always learn and use it as an inspiration. So that's why we thought giving the implementation strategy is also helpful. So what we really focus on like a phased approach. We did like 4 years pilot projects, and I think the police last week we had an exchange about this, and they were saying they were already working like 20 years on this. Because 20 years ago there was nothing there. There wasn't like a diversity cell. But perhaps in your city it doesn't take 20 years. It can probably go faster. But the phased approach is necessary. Also, to go for priority districts. You don't need to do this everywhere where you have like dense populations, increased poverty. Those are most of the times the places that needs more attention. So focus on those districts. And yeah, of course, evaluation and expansion. We always do like the evaluation after every year, and we see, okay, was this really meaningful? The personal effort we put in it, is this delivering the results that we expect? And also to grow, yeah, sometimes you also need to think bigger. And we have like almost 200,000 youngsters. Sometimes it's also necessary to see, do we keep this like small mediation groups, or do we focus more on like how to really inform like a really large scale of young people for this? So we also need to take this into account. And then advisory role and tensions will also be important. It remains active in an advisory capacity in situations involving acute tensions. So we can react faster and have a more effective response. Then the last two slides, I wanted to show some strengths that we think this is like strengths, and like these are like more the weaknesses or like the challenges of the model. At first, the strengths. It's from we are from a transition from a pilot to a structural system, so it facilitates this transition. We were really working on it, and of course it costs personal time because you're going from project based to get funds somewhere else to do it sustainable and to have a structural system for urban policy, and that's really good because you see that's the impact already. We had pilots for several years, and now it is sustainable finally. What's also a really strength of the model, because Antwerp is a very large city with over almost half million inhabitants. So we have a local anchoring in the different areas, also with the different departments who are on those areas. And we try to align them all with the specific needs and realities of those neighborhoods. And then what this model also does is the combination, I see a fault in there, between prevention and response. Only focusing on prevention doesn't work. Only function on response doesn't work. So it really needs to be like a combination. And there are, of course, challenges in to explain it always to the people higher up in the hierarchy, for like the police commander or like the mayor or like aldermen and so on. But it is a strength of the model that we show that it can be combined. And then, of course, one of the other strengths is like collaborations between partners. So the success really depends on the integration of the cooperation between the police department, youth work organizations, and then city services. But what do we learn if you don't look at the weaknesses and the challenges? There are definitely some challenges, and there are still a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is like now, because it's widespread already, versus one coordination. Sometimes we notice that the three target groups sometimes look to each other in, whose job is this? Are you going to do this, or are we going to do it? What's the expectation in there? So yeah, widely spread, it's good because then you know it can survive. Because when it's with one coordination, when that person falls out, yeah, the whole system can collapse. Now it will carry on, but there's also like sometimes things tend to get slower, or like who need to decide this. At this moment, the SPOCs, we are from the youth department, we are delivering the some of the SPOCs in some areas, but it's also give like a pressure because is it our job to do this? Are we the best fit for this? Because we also our colleagues, we have our standard operations and workload, so we're still seeing from which person is the best fit to be like a SPOC, don't have that much staff pressure. Then another weakness is the reach of youth work versus the number of youth. Sometimes it's difficult to align, because when you see this project every year for 6 years, it gets 60,000 euro. That's 306,000 euro, and now it goes for consultations to organize consultations. So it's important, but sometimes you also see we have almost 200,000 youngsters. Is this enough? Do we need to focus on more like the groups who need this intention of the youngsters who are having difficulties with police? Because also a lot of youngsters in Antwerp don't have a problem with police or so. So that is still like a challenge of this model. Who is like the target group of this? What I also tend to see is that it started from a negative perspective, but it also creates like a tunnel vision that it always needs to be starting from a negative perspective. You can also give more insight in the life of young people and from a positive perspective, and to show like positive examples, like we did a participation survey, also like those over 1,000 participants, and we noticed that a lot of girls and women who are young really find it good that there was a lot of police visible in the cities, where then a small group of like the teenage boys, they don't like it, they didn't like it. So that's yeah, it's always, it will be a challenge to see what will be the continuation of this. And as I mentioned earlier, at that moment, there is a lot of budget going to allocated to meetings, where sometimes you also need to question, is it really necessary? Do we need to pay this, or can we do it otherwise? Can this money be or have a better purpose? So we will definitely need to evaluate this. So yeah, and then the final one, but I already explained it about the prejudice on all sides. And we notice it. Sometimes it's like a higher up police commander, but sometimes also like a youth work person who has their own experience, and sometimes it's just based on prejudice. So basically, that was the presentation. If you have some questions, you can join me, of course, in the breakout room, and I will stop sharing now. It's already done, I think, the sharing. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Roel,
Thank you.
for that presentation. And I think we can continue the conversation in the breakout rooms. So we'll have 10 minutes breakout room. Michał will be in breakout room 1. So anyone interested in that can join breakout room 1. And Roel will be in breakout room 2. Tiana will be moderating Michał's breakout room. So any questions coming through, she'll delegate those, and I'll be in Roel's breakout room. I think Tiana is creating them just now. So if anyone doesn't choose a breakout room, they'll be assigned. But there as well, you can keep your camera off. You can write into the chat any of the questions you have, and then we'll regroup afterwards.
Let's give people some minutes to come back. But Michał, did I hear you right that this is a new development that's going on with the youth policy, or is it something that you're recreating?
It's a new thing. We don't have youth policy as
We are
one document. So it will be a new thing that we are now developing. So connecting all those actions that we used to do to one connected ecosystem, responding for all those weird problems that we have to face.
So
Hi,
then extremely
everyone.
hard work. Hi, Adela.
Hi, so sorry. This always happens when breakout rooms kick off. Then suddenly we're out of them. So I'm very sorry about this. But I think both speakers had noted their contact details. So anyone who asks questions, please, I think the speakers would be happy to, if they heard from you. So I think you can follow up with them if you like. But I think these sessions were really cool. We had a great discussion in breakout room 2 about in general how the sentiments were before so what actually led to the creation of this police and youth project, how the police changed their attitudes to immigrants, and how identity controls shifted. So that is to summarize what happened in breakout room 2. Maybe Tiana, you want to give an overview of yours?
Yeah, so we had quite short time, but most of the time what we were discussing first was basically best practice approaches, only because there were already 3 other people from municipality coming in this breakout room, so I found it interesting. And one of the questions was regarding how do you approach youth, how do you go to the youth, and how do you maintain them while you're doing ongoing projects, developing the policy, etc. And yeah, it was quite interesting to hear that perspective.
Awesome. Thanks so much for summarizing, Tiana. I will briefly go ahead and share my screen to move on to the very last parts of this webinar. Unfortunately, it's coming to an end already. So we would love to hear from you. You can scan this QR code, which will lead you to a Mentimeter site, and you can type in what resonated with you today. I'll give you a few minutes to scan this QR code. I would really encourage you to do scan it, please, because it does help us shape the next ECN webinar. We really do try to aim to get the most out of these sessions. So we truly appreciate your feedback. And perhaps Tiana will also share the link in the chat. So if you prefer that, that is also absolutely okay to scan the link. And I think then Tiana, you let me know when I should stop sharing and you show the picture.
Yes, you can stop sharing. I can also show the QR code as well while people are writing in their words.
Sure. And go.
Thank you. So, do you see my screen?
Yeah, it's loading.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, now we're getting there. A few people have already entered their takeaways, and that is really cool. So we've got new strategies, entertaining, inspiring, useful, interesting and good examples, uplifting, inspiring information. So it is really cool to see that that these presentations resonated with people, and I hope you take away a lot. As you know, this session is recorded, so you can share it with whomever you think is interested and wasn't able to make it today, or you can go back and look at the presentations. If you need any extra information, I'm available to delegate anything necessary. And I think we can close this down for now, and I'll go back to sharing my screen to just show you what's happening in the next months at COD. Namely, the next European City Network webinar will take place in autumn. We do not have a topic yet. So if there's anything you are really interested in learning about, or if there are any cities in our network that you want to hear from, please let me know. I will make sure that we set up a webinar that meets your needs and your interests. So I think it will happen around September, October. Feel free to reach out to me during any time in that period. Now, if you haven't already, we would very much encourage you to sign up for the European Capital of Democracy Citizens Jury. You can do so by scanning this QR code. And by signing up as a citizens juror, you get to select the next European Capital of Democracy. So that would be the European Capital of Democracy 2028. This voting process typically happens in March, so it's still far away, but you can sign up now and keep up to date with the organization. As a citizen juror, you also vote for the most innovative political projects across Europe for the Innovation in Politics Awards, which my colleagues work on. So please do become part of our community if you aren't already part of it. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me. More than happy to help if there's anything needed. And that would be all from my side. Thank you very much for joining. We truly do look forward to continuing the conversation, and I wish you a very nice continuation of the day.